So what's the favorite place you visited to in your job going as a cultural delegate?
I love, to be honest, Damascus.
Damascus?
It made a huge impact to me, Syria.
How? Why?
The diversity, and also, for example, you see one quartier is like all these Christians, very modern. The clothes of the women is like over the top. And it's like being more than in your Los Angeles, very liberal clothing. I thought it was odd. And then you move in the other side, not far from that, and you see Muslims, all covered from the top to the bottom. And it's just, how do they live all these people together? And then they have the other place for the Jewish. And I'm like, how do they?
So in Syria, you have a Jewish population, a Christian population, and a Muslim population living under one governmental. That's interesting.
To me, that was really outstanding. And I found it fascinating. And then I didn't see any disturbances or anything like that. I found it amazing.
So have you been in contact since Syria's been under so much strife now and moving into civil war? Have you been back in communications? The government would certainly not send you there
Not
right
lately,
now.
but I made a partnership with a nun who has the largest shelter for human trafficking and domestic violence victims. This shelter, I want to share this with you, was given by a Syrian man, a very wealthy Syrian man, from the government, giving us a gift because he was very wealthy, giving it to this nun to have, and they had all these. I wish I could have brought the pictures. There were about between 60 and 70 girls that I met there, and it was the most fascinating experience I ever left.
Interesting. That's really, really interesting, and it's still going on today. I can't even imagine.
At the last time, yes, because she contacted me, I will say over a year ago. Last time I talked to her.
I can't even imagine what it's like there right now. Do you find during periods where we're right now under, I think we're under phenomenal stress. Let's just be really candid. We're economically under stress. We've had a long recession. We've got government and shutdown. Do you find that these periods of time impact the number of women who are coming in to shelters and to jobs like your center?
Correct. You know what? Due to the disturbance, emotional disturbance at homes, and the financial struggles the family are having, I have seen a much higher rate of domestic violence victims coming through the doors of us.
Really?
And not only ours, but all different shelters and people calling us and saying, and then not only that, the shelters and the groups like ours, the funding is very distressful right now.
So with the government shutdown, funding's going away.
Mm-hmm.
You've got higher levels of stress. I think, I bought the domain a long time ago called Heels on the Hill. I think we should all go walking up to Capitol Hill, and I think as women we should go in and say, we're here as your mothers. We're going to tell you. This is what I used to tell my children to do when they would fight. I'd say, I want you to write 10 reasons why you don't like your sibling, and then I want you to write 10 reasons why you love your sibling. And it was really interesting because my son would write things, I don't like Elizabeth because she won't let me play in her room. I love Elizabeth because she'll let me play in her room. So I think we just need to go, and I want you to write a letter, 10 reasons why you don't like the Democrats. I want you to write 10 reasons you don't like the Republicans, and I want you to write 10 reasons why you love each other. So I really think we need to do that because I'm really fed up. So I want to talk a little bit about your book. What is your book about?
The book is the story about second chances. A little bit what I discussed with you. How did I came up to be? Where did I found the shelter? And then the model. The model is the most interesting thing because I'm sharing the model with all the details. And it's more than a nonprofit. It's more like a corporate model when you all will see it. And it gives you not only the part of how we do the partnerships, how we create the volunteerism, but also we have a tracking system that tracks down every client to come to the door. And of course, it's HIPAA compliance. That means people cannot see the names, but it is a tool that shows how the money is spent, how the client is served, who are the partners. And it is an amazing, amazing tool. So that's the organization. And then the stories of the clients, that's the most important part there in my book. The stories of the clients, when they came and where are they now. And some of them, they're our spokesperson.
So when will your book be coming out?
Either the third week of December or the second week of January.
A Christmas gift. I think that would be really, really important. So what's next for you? What do you do from here?
Well, I just got invited to Totally Independent as my, as where the term on this delegate position is finishing. I just got invited by the Kingdom of Qatar to go and speak about women and how they balance their life, the work, and the staying-at-home mothers. But also, they were asking me if I can share some of the stories of domestic violence, which I'm very thrilled about having this wonderful opportunity. So I'll be participating in the International Business Forum in Qatar.
So you'll be continuing to go around. I really admire what you're doing. So let's talk about your corporation, because it was really interesting. When you founded your for-profit HR company. Tell us a little bit about that and how
Yes.
what you do with the revenue you get from there.
Yes, basically I created Women Power because we were struggling in 2007. We started having some issues, financial issues, and it's like for fundraising, you know how complicated it is, especially when you're doing expansion. We start moving the organization, not only the headquarters in DC, but then opening a site in New York City and then other sites. So I said, why not create this a company that will be for profit, and then we can provide some percentage of that go to the Second Chance. So we assignate about 25% and of the company, whatever services we provide. And at that time, it was a very little. I didn't do that much work. For example, I will hire. Let's see, if I do some recruitment for a firm, I help them, assist them on executive recruitment, and they will pay me a certain amount of money. Then that little money will be allocated to Second Chance, the 25%, and it helped us a lot. So then we start growing it and making it a little bigger and bigger. And then right now, we're doing even executive coaching and start moving forward to other areas. So right now we're 12 employees. We're still a small, in a small firm, not that large, but moving forward to make it larger as Second Chance is going to grow into a much larger,
That's a really great strategy to complement your nonprofit that was your passion that you started, to build alongside of that a for-profit to help fund the growth. I mean, is that not a brilliant strategy? Now, and inside your company, you're not only helping people do executive placements, but you're also providing coaching.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about how that works.
Well, basically, I am not a coach. I am the person, that put the company. So I hire the coaches. All these individuals will go to the different companies and provide the services that they need. For example, we did some service for the Pentagon. So they needed that, about 5 of them. So I recruited this individual, so they went there and they did the service for the people inside the Pentagon.
That's
so
fascinating.
I oversee it,
That's
like a project manager type of
You're
work.
not just cute, you are really smart.
Oh, thanks. You're so nice.
And I think, but necessity is the mother of invention.
Exactly. What would I do?
And you get out there and do these things. So where do you see this company going in the future?
I have to make it grow. I mean, I don't have basically no choice because my goal is to move Second Chance to be national totally. And right now we have a partnership with Manpower. I want to mention that we joined forces with Manpower, the largest employment agency in the world, in 2011. So what they provide for us is the sites. But we have to fund, the director of programs, the coordinators of the colleges coordinators. We have to find the recruitments. All these people, they have to get funded. How we're going to pay them, because volunteers are not enough. We have volunteers, but we have to have the core employees in the organization. So I need to make the organization grow. So the more money I get from Women Power, the more money comes to Second Chance, and the more we can start expanding.
So you're an international spokesperson for the country. You run a for-profit corporation called Women Power, which really works on employment services, and then you run Second Chance.
I don't run Second Chance anymore.
Okay, you don't run. Okay, so how does that work now?
Well, it's working fabulous because the board of directors, they're very active board of directors. They're very much on, and we have a wonderful group of people who are helping us, plus the volunteers, and I work also in partnership with the George Washington University.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So, yes.
So you'd like to see Second Chance Employment Services become maybe not international, but a
total national, cover every state,
national.
because the goal of Manpower is to put 52 states, 52 sites. So, but it takes a lot of time. It's not as simple as just finding a space. No, it's not.
There's a lot. I think that there's a lot of regulations involved because you're working in matters of crisis. Do you have relationships with the police department or anything like that?
Yeah, we work together with them.
So,
Department of Justice, police departments, all of those groups.
So I think that would be an important relationship. And how do you protect? Because I know those first, period when a family leaves, they leave their domestic abuse situation. How do you protect women and their families when they get out?
That's one of the parts that basically we have not been involved. We have been involved a couple of times, but it's not our core. We're the employment agency. But we have had situations by which we have had to get involved in type of things. That when woman was, there were 2 clients. One was almost got killed. So she had to escape. And we have her hidden in a place in Georgetown. And we had to get involved. A law firm, it's called R.M. Fox. They helped me with that, with the intervention, got us a particular lawyer that worked on her case. So that type of work takes a lot of energy, and it's very complicated for us.
Have you ever had somebody, a spouse or somebody who was angry and came to your offices and said not to help?
Not yet. Hopefully not.
I hope that never happens.
And we sort of like kidding ourselves. we keep ourselves very hiding that people really don't know. They think in employment agencies. So even men calls us all the time. We receive, emails and phone calls.
Let's talk about men. Men can be abused or domestically abused.
Yes.
Would you help a man who had that same need?
Oh yes, of course. And we have had several calls of men. And I had some experience about a couple of men who came when I was under the Department of Justice in this Advisory Council on Domestic Violence Against Women. They came to men who they wanted to testify and tell their story about being victims. And I talked to them and I learned from them that many men can be victimized. But the thing is not awareness in people because they see that they're stronger, stronger. So they won't imagine they can be victimized, but indeed they are.
So what's your greatest need now for everything that you're doing? What do you need?
Strength. I need strength, the rest, which I do, and of course I need people to get involved with our organization. Continue that, get more volunteers, more people who are engaged in our fundraising events. Be there for the organization Second Chances because that's my life mission. That's where my passion is, and that's where I wanted to grow.
So if you become a volunteer at Second Chance Employment Services, what would you do as a volunteer?
Oh, there are many areas you can, from events, marketing, PR. You can work with the clients, find an employment, get them in a training program in your own company. Like for example, we have this company who's amazing, Booz Allen and Hamilton. They have a whole mentorship program for the women of Second Chances. The SunTrust Bank as well, PNC. So all of these groups, they have mentorships and then finding employment for them. So they basically at the end, they're the ones employing the clients instead of us. But through the partnership, they're all doing the work without even knowing.
That's really interesting. Do you think that there's the things you're doing, you can apply those skills as well? I look at what we're doing today in education and I feel like sometimes we're teaching math and principles, but we're not teaching life skills. Mm-hmm. Do you think that that's something we need to bring into our education system?
Definitely yes, because many women have come even through our doors without knowing how to write a check, balance a checkbook. I mean, basic things. And now we have to be working with some of the groups like the Smith Barney was very involved with us in that type of financial education for the clients because it was something that was not done. I truly believe that.
I do too. I think that we're going to be looking, I think, at that issue in the future because I think basic skills are also.
Basic skills
and I think if you walk into a relationship when you have skills, you are more likely to leave. If you have nothing, if you walk into a relationship and then becomes domestically abusive and you have no skills, don't even know how to write a check, I would think you even looking at your options of leaving as almost not there for you at all.
And many times I have learned that many of the clients, many of the ladies, they have come and shared with me the story that their husbands were doing all their financials, everything. Even they were giving a certain amount of money per week to have lunch. To me was that, it was very surprising.
I think that's probably
Wow.
happens in some families too, where
Yes.
even if there is no domestic abuse. But I think that shows that we need to be teaching power on both sides.
Yeah, it's very important, just to have that. I mean, if you cannot even have money for your lunch, it's just.
So I want to open it up to questions. Who has questions for Ludy? Okay, we'll start right here. So is it possible to pull the family back together? Is there something you can do? That is a great question. Thank you,
That is an
Melissa.
amazing question. I have always asked myself that. I have not seen a success story yet. I would love to see it. And I have seen a lot of churches, partner churches that are friends of ours in groups, synagogues, that they work together with us. They have done that. Some of them, they say they have seen the results, particularly with my clients. I have not seen it. And understand that my clients, they come from the shelters, the welfare to work programs, and all those services. They come to me already long time after they have been on that. So they come to us when they don't have nowhere to go. They don't have nothing to do. So they're searching for an opportunity, and we provide them that financial independence to them through our long-term careers.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Are there many cases where the spouse who's doing the abuse being arrested or?
Oh yes, that has been in many occasions. Particularly, like I said, when the women have come to me, they've already gone through that. But I have a few cases that we have had to intervene in, spouses that have been arrested and all that. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Who else has a question?
Oh, thank you so much, Sue, for helping us.
I think that that's a really good point, is that we're talking about getting the skills and everything, but you've also got to have, we talked a little bit about your teeth or that you've been scarred or hurt, but you also need to have access to clothing.
Yes.
And to go get a job interview, if you leave with just the pair of sweatpants, where do you go and how do you do that? And the work that you do there is amazing. So Suited for Change is an amazing nonprofit. I hope you've heard of it. And as you begin to change your seasonal wardrobe, it'd probably be a great time to donate clothes. And you need a lot of times the larger sizes too.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
They're an amazing group. They have been our partners since the beginning of Second Chance. Yes.
that, I'm glad you're here, Robin. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Who else has a question? Yes.
You're located here in the, how do
Yes,
you
we're in
access-
18 and I.
And what is the process by which we make a referral?
Basically, we create a partnership with the organization that is interested in us. So we have an MOU in place, and then from there you can start sending the referrals and making sure that the client has been a victim of violence, a human traffic victim.
I think that's a
And-
really interesting point. That
Must they be American citizen?
No,
I see.
we don't look into those things.
Okay.
Immigration, we don't look into any of that.
Okay, good.
That's good. That's really interesting. You know, I think that's really
Yes.
interesting because as a physician, sometimes is the first person who can begin to see signs of abuse. So the question, I always want to make sure we get it on tape. So the question has to do with what about outside our country for employment opportunities and setting up something like what you've done there.
You know what? I have been like sort of like researching different countries that I have visited to see what type of opportunities they might be for them. One particular country in Vietnam, I went to visit there, Hanoi, and I went to Ho Chi Minh City and had the chance to go to the shelters and find out and understand the life of those particular individuals. The approach has to be totally different. It couldn't be as well as here, and especially here, we're in a big city, and everywhere I am right now, we are Second Chances. It is in big cities, large cities. So there will be more like entrepreneurial type of creating their own crafts and things like that. It will be a little different, like a small businesses in that particular country.
That's really interesting. You know, entrepreneurship is a huge traction, is huge here in the United States, especially because women create more small businesses than men do every year. And they're a huge factor in driving our economy. Do you ever work with anybody in helping women start creating their own entrepreneurial dreams?
We have two successful stories. One was a lady, Agustina. She is a Latino woman from Adams Morgan, who was one of our, probably 6 years ago, a client with Second Chances, and had a very tremendous story. It was very difficult. Her daughter was being raped by her husband, who then he fled to Mexico City and left her here with us, and basically she almost killed herself and the children in the office. That was one of the most horrible stories who ever lived. Yes, and so my board of directors took care of everything of this lady. We put her in a place to live, and people of Second Chance, the volunteers, I don't know if Catherine was involved in that, but many of the volunteers hired her as a cleaner. She said she loved to clean. So we said, okay, whatever you like to do, okay, let's do it. So she decided to start cleaning the house of all the volunteers of Second Chances. She got so many clients like that. She has now her own company.
I love it.
Agustina and
I love
Adams
it.
Morgan, yeah, and we work with the SBA. She got a loan, and she has her company for a while now. She's
That's
on her feet
wonderful.
by herself and all
Yeah,
that. Mhm.
that's wonderful. You said you had another story too?
Yes, the other one, she did everything that has to do with taking care of the elder. So we got her into different homes of people who, like in the neighborhoods of ours, of people part of the board, the new elders, and she created her own little service for the seniors.
That's wonderful.
And they, what the interesting thing, these clients are so amazing because they hire women of Second Chance who they cannot be just hired anywhere. So they hire them and they pay them, they help them.
That's nice.
So it's very nice. So they remember what happened to them. So now they give back to the world.
Interesting. It keeps
Yes.
Yeah, the cycle. Who else has a question? Great question. So the ages that's a good question. The ages of people that you're seeing coming through your doors.
More likely the people that have come through our doors is between 30s to 50s. That's the largest population. It has really stand out to me, and I ask in my office to give me that statistics, and I can see that. It's much more prevalent.
That really surprises me. I thought it'd be younger. So it's people in their 30s to their 50s. Really
It's
coming
the
through
domestic
doors.
violence victims.
Interesting. And the numbers are higher right now.
In
you
the
feel,
trafficking,
because
younger.
in trafficking, it's younger. What are the trafficking
The
ages?
ages, oh gosh, we have had people from 16 years old. Let me think the oldest. They're not that old. Maybe 22, 23.
What if somebody's watching this video today, or somebody you know discovers somebody you know that's being trafficked? What should you do?
Oh, immediately you have to reach out to the organizations that they are taking care of these victims. And locally, you can contact Polaris Project, Sisters of Charity, our organization, Second Chance Employment Services.
So, and if you're in another city, we have people watching our show from around the world. What should people do?
Oh my gosh, you have to basically go to the police station. The police stations right now, they're working on it. Everyone that has to do with the justice departments in every city right now, they're very involved in this group.
What if you are a victim and you're being trafficked right now and you happen to see this, and maybe you're in this country or another country illegally? Should that stop you from going for help?
Should not. And you know they are protected, so they're fine.
So if you're brought in from Russia or Nigeria or any other country, and right now you see this video and you need help, what's the first thing they should do?
Even if you don't have documentation, do not worry. You can reach out to our organization or go directly to any police department.
So go to the police department. They will protect
They're
you.
protected.
Second Chance Employment Services, and they can find you online at
www.scesnet.org.
So, and if you'll come up, we'll make sure we have that link that we have posted to this video. So if you know anybody who needs help, do not worry about your immigration status. You will be protected in the
You will be
United States.
protected.
So we want to see that you're saved, and we want to make sure that you're protected. And we will make sure that that happens for you, because it's really sad when you think about that. So, and we all have a responsibility. I'll be more mindful now wherever I go to think, is this person, and maybe ask questions. Is there any secret question you should maybe ask somebody, like if somebody's...
Well, first of all, you have to have some type of relationship with the individual. I mean, if you find they see you're manicurist and you're talking to them, and you have the chance to ask them. You know, there's sometimes ways or clues that a woman can give you too. You know, are you doing well? Where are you living? Things like that. And then they may be able to disclose it. They may say, help, and they may give you something for you to help. That's what stories I have heard from others, that they will give you a little piece of paper saying, help me, this is where I am, and that's how people have been discovered.
Wow.
Yes.
So that just gives me terrible goosebumps to even think about that's happening. Ludy, I can't thank you enough for the stories you've shared today. This is really important. I think this conversation, it's a difficult one, but I think it's an important conversation, because I think we have a responsibility to help anybody that we can. And when I think about young girls and even young boys being trafficked, it breaks my heart. It literally breaks my heart, and to know that there's something we could do. And I think we have to be vocal and say we will do something, and we are here to save people, and we will do it. Is there anybody who has a last question or comment they'd like to add before we end?
Yes, please.
So let me make sure I want to get it on tape. So the question is, do you have statistics on the numbers of people who are being trafficked, perhaps in this area or around the country?
Particularly myself, I focus on the domestic violence victims. The human trafficking victims that comes to us is not as amounts, at the same amounts as the domestic violence is different than the human trafficking. So what I have seen, for example, let me give you the past few months, we may have like about 7 to 8 clients. But to me, that's not a lot, because you see, I'm seeing so many victims that comes every day, domestic violence victims. So that to us is like the part that we are really.
How many people come through your doors every month?
Since the down economy, oh my gosh, we have for at least 30 to 40 people a month.
30 to 40 people come
Before
through
they
your
used
doors.
to be like 5, 6, 7. And it was very different. It has changed, because you see other agencies, because they don't have that employment piece, they're trying to put it through us. So that's what we do, that part of a service.
Which is really important, because that's the thing that makes the door stay open. It's that employment piece that makes the escape sustainable and possible. And I think that's what's so important about what you do. You have all asked incredible questions, and I can't thank you enough. Anybody else want to say, because I want to make sure.
Ludy, has there been any initiative or effort with your organization to organize the voices of the women who have come through, at least in a safe way, so that they can educate and increase awareness and maybe encourage other women to come in and get support?
You know what, we haven't done that. They have become a spokesperson of the issue. They go to us on television, media, but they have not had that yet. And it's something that we've been thinking about. It can be very important. But some of them, believe it or not, they don't want to remember, so they're trying to avoid, they try not to talk. They sort of like, they want to forget about what happened in their past. Yes.
Just curious how various domestic violence programs that have shelters or a safe house hear of you, so they know once they've provided safety for them that you'll be able to help them with the next stage.
Well, they have learned. I have been an activist on this issue for so many years. So I have served in a lot of shelters, very involved in the community. And I have created a couple of times a public awareness campaigns. And it has been all over the radio, television. So people have learned to us through those diffused that way, as well as through word of mouth. And then we create like the MOUs, like the memorandum of understanding with these groups, and then these groups tell other groups. And currently, right now, even people are getting to know us even more because the Violence Against Women Act has passed not long ago, and basically they have included now employment is a key solution to end domestic violence. So it's inside the VAWA, which I think is like the greatest accomplishment I've ever done.
You got to share the story about how you got this passed. Violence Against Women, and it's really amazing. She did her homework because to have something enacted, the Violence Against Women Act, share that story. It's amazing.
Yeah, for many years, we have not been receiving money from government. We just receive money from individuals, parties. We have a lot of galas. So I talked to this firm called RM Fox, and they are one of our lobbyist firms who they help us get us into everywhere. And they were telling me about the VAWA and the authorization of the VAWA, and it should be very important that they learn about us and why this is a solution to end domestic violence. So they asked me to create, we did a White House briefing, we did a House briefing, and a Senate briefing. And we brought our clients, very diverse clients, to all these briefings. So we had everybody learning about us. So then the time came, and then we did a visit to Senator Leahy, which he loved the idea, and he was so much for employment. And he said, okay, I want you to be part of this. So he put me with his staffers. And basically with the staffers, we worked together, and they gave me this whole document. So myself with my board of director, Mark Kennedy, Judge Kennedy, he helped us, read. We were reading all over, and then they tell us, where will it go? So Senator Leahy's office was asking me where in the legislation should go the language so we can be recognized and it will not be a huge fuss out of that. Because I said, it's not here about just putting the money for second chance. We're not talking about that. We're talking there to recognize that employment is really a key solution to end domestic violence. So that was the most important part. So I came out with this concept, the idea. I said, well, transitional housing is sending me all these clients. Why not get it under the transitional housing? Is the logical. After they go to transitional housing, where do they go? They don't have any place to go. So the more logical is working with them and then finding employment for the victims.
So what's really great about this, instead of making a big brouhaha and making claims, and we want this at the top of the bill, and we want you to recognize it, and we want to have this big thing, she said, let's just slip it under transitional housing.
So nobody
And it
even
was
realized.
passed.
No, and it's all over now. It's all over.
So it's now enacted and passed by the government. So I love that because it was that great, brilliant strategy. Because I'm one of those, I'm just going to be big and bold and sassy and talk out loud. And I probably wouldn't have gotten the actor. But you went in and said, I'm going to be subtle, I'm going to be smart, and I'm going to slip it under. It's kind of like I'm going to be in the back of the room, and boom, you got it. That is incredible.
Yeah, that's the greatest accomplishment, really.
So that's really, and it's called Violence Against Women Act.
The Violence Against
And what
Women
does that mean? What does it?
Under the Act of the Violence Against Women, where it's all the legislation in regards to all the funding that comes to, the shelters and legal services and all the things for women who are victims of violence. Inside, under the transitional housing, there's a section that talks about the recognition of the employment piece as a solution to end domestic violence.
Very good. I like that.
Yeah.
That's the way a woman does stuff. She gets it done. We're not going to make a big noise. We're just going to get it done. I like it. I like it. Anything else? I wanted to make sure because it's such a great conversation today. Yes, ma'am. So we're asking about the statistics so as we asked about statistics for human trafficking, but what are they for domestic violence statistics?
3 out of 4 women.
What?
Yes.
Wait. 3 out of 4 women experience
Domestic violence. That's what the statistics in the Department of Justice. That's what they put it.
I mean, just look around in the room.
I know.
It's crazy. It doesn't have any sense. I know.
Does it matter the economic level?
No, it
education
doesn't. And it
level,
doesn't.
Culture?
No, it doesn't.
Does that include both physical and
And emotional, of course. You include in both.
3 out of 4 women
Mm-hmm.
experience domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know what the numbers are for men?
Nope.
I don't think it's probably anything like that.
Mm-mm.
That is an astounding number.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even begin to comprehend that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I think we've got a lot of work to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's interesting. I don't even know how to process that to begin to understand what we should.
And I don't think people are aware. They don't even know.
How many people were aware of that statistic, other than you probably asking as you know? You knew it? Okay, you knew that was.
I went to a retreat. I want to share this, to a retreat on my church, and I was sitting on a table and they were talking. We were 10 women, and I'm not kidding. This is not a joke. 8 of the women had been victimized one time in their life. I couldn't, and there was no diversity, nothing. They were just the American women from Northern Virginia, and they were with high profiles, means, and all that. Yes.
Okay, we have a question over here, then we'll come back over to Peggy. Yes, ma'am.
I just was curious, who produces that statistic? Who does?
Department of Justice.
So the Department of Justice did the research and found that.
Yeah, they have many different statistics for can be also for human trafficking, can be for sexual assault, and I think they put it all together as a violence against women.
Interesting. Peggy, you had a question.
What do they include in emotional abuse?
So what's included
What is
in
behavior?
recognizing emotional?
For example, if somebody is controlling your money, controlling you cannot use the car, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, telling you how bad you are, how stupid you are, calling you names.
I
Wow.
understand there's a problem with elder abuse like that.
There is. Elder abuse is another area that needs to be addressed, seriously addressed.
Ludy, I can't thank you enough for coming today. I want to tell everybody who watched this video today, I think it's one of the most important interviews we've ever conducted. And I can't thank you
so
enough,
much.
and we have amazing conversations, and this is really an important conversation. If you're watching this today, I want you to share it with other people so they understand the numbers of domestic violence, its impact in this country, and that we each have a role in changing this. No matter what it is, we have a role, and we have to stand and make sure that we're vocal about it. And we have to make sure that people know that yelling or somebody's controlling your money or refusing to let you have a car or anything, that is a form of abuse. And you need to take action today to make sure that you're shifting your life so that nobody is controlling it, because this is what America is, it's freedom. And that was one thing you shared with me, you love America. You love, when I asked you your favorite country, and you said it was France. I said, would you rather live there? And
Nope.
share with what you said.
Oh, I love America. It's a land of freedom, opportunity for all, no question. God bless each one of us.
Thank you, and God bless us for having you, Ludy. Thank you.
Thank you so
You were
much.
amazing.